Catherine again, and today I wanted to come back with another semester at sea video. And in this video I wanted to talk about what I'm glad I did on semester at sea. So I made a list just like I did with the video where I talked about what I regretted doing on semester at sea. This time I wanted to be a bit more positive and talk about the things I'm glad I did, that I didn't completely do semester at sea wrong, and that would be useful for all of you who are thinking about going on semester at sea in the future. So with semester at sea, you can do your own independent traveling, where you just plan everything on your own and do whatever you want basically, or you can do a semester at sea trip, and you can see all these trips. They're emailed to you, they're available to see before you start semester at sea. So many of these trips you can book and just kind of let semester at sea take care of the logistics, and you just kind of have to pay and show up, and it's really simple and easy. And I recommend doing a mix of both. I think that both have their time and place, and it's really great to have that balance, because doing independent travel and planning everything on your own can be a lot. There's also countries where it's a lot harder to travel. They have less tourists there, they have less public transportation, or maybe their public transportation is a bit sketch, especially for foreigners, because you might stick out as a foreigner, and so it just might be harder to travel to these places. Or there might be places that you want to go to, but the country's quite big and the ship is far from wherever you're wanting to go to. So going on a semester at sea trip may be useful and beneficial, if not safer, for some of these options. I went to the Great Wall of China and the Taj Mahal with semester at sea, and I loved it and didn't regret it. Most people on semester at sea, if not practically everyone who did end up seeing these sites, did go through semester at sea. For China, we stopped in Shanghai, and the Great Wall of China is in Beijing, which is a plane ride away. And so being able to have semester at sea coordinate that, and then getting to Beijing with hotels, it's an overnight trip, obviously really was helpful. And same thing with the Taj Mahal. Semester at sea docked in the southern tip of India in Cochin, and the Taj Mahal is like up in the north, and India is not a small country, so I definitely also recommend that as well. That also involved a plane ride and multiple hotel stays. Some countries also, like Myanmar or Ghana, I just didn't feel very safe going on my own, unless it was like maybe a few hours in the city that we were docked at, because there aren't as many tourists there, and there's just some places it's just also hard to find things to do that isn't a semester at sea organized thing, because semester at sea does do like local family stays, like with Ghana, or things that you wouldn't, as just a tourist on your own going in country, wouldn't really be able to do. So semester at sea does offer those partnerships. For example, in Ghana, I got to go to a village and spend the night in a village, and that was really cool. And I don't think I would have been able to do that on my own, like just find a random person in Ghana and be like, hey, can I spend the night? I don't know how that would have worked out. Maybe there's some kind of company organization that does this online somewhere, I don't know, but I just think that was easier and just safer and the best option for semester at sea. So, but at the same time, I still did my independent travel. In Japan, I completely traveled on my own. I spent a day alone in Ghana, just traveling like around the city we were at. Same thing with Myanmar. I did some of my own stuff in South Africa. But I did a safari with semester at sea because they booked everything, and it was overnight again. I like doing like overnight trips with semester at sea. I'm trying to think. I did a decent amount of semester at sea trips, but like I said, definitely did a lot of independent travel as well. Another thing I did is semester at sea puts on a lot of fun events, whether they be movie nights or like talks with people maybe that are from the country we're going to, or important subject, like maybe right before going to South Africa, there's a talk on like apartheid, for example, and just like learning about that country. And most of these are optional, and I'm glad that I made the most of my time at semester at sea and that I did all these events, because I just think they're important, and might as well. You're not always going to have access to this, you're not always doing semester at sea, so I'm glad I made the most out of that. And then there's also not just like nightly talks or movies or whatever. Also, there's a lot of daytime activities as well. Another thing is like you could join a semester at sea family. And so there are lifelong learners, which are just older people who do semester at sea. Not as many as students for sure, but there are a few. And some families on semester at sea, and obviously professors. And so you basically get paired up with, I think, anywhere from like 4 to 6 other semester at sea students, depending on how many people sign up, with a semester at sea mom or dad. And so that could be a professor, that could be a lifelong learner, and basically you all meet as like a semester at sea family once a week, once every few weeks, once a month. Really depends on each family individually, and I recommend doing that. That was a lot of fun. I was making a friend in one of my classes, and getting to be randomly partnered in a family where she happened to be in that family of mine, so she was a semester C sister of mine, really made us bond, and we're still friends to this day and talk on a weekly basis years later, because I went on my voyage in 2016. And so I do really recommend that, and just being able to also have like an older semester at sea figure that's not just your professor, to be able to talk to, have life chats and meaningful conversations, I thought was really great and something that I looked forward to when I was sailing. Also, semester at sea is known to be a party boat, I guess you could say. I mean, it's not too shocking. I would say 90%, maybe 80 to 90% of semester at sea students are from the US. And so, you know, most students, I would say, are under 21 or recently turned 21, and many countries outside the US, the drinking age is 18 or something less than 21. The US has one of the latest drinking ages in the world. And so, as you can probably imagine, college students that, like I said, under 21, just turned 21, are now in these different countries around the world where they are legally able to drink, many of these students for the first time ever, and they tend to go kind of crazy. I've read about like horror stories that happened a semester at sea, and my parents actually did too, and I remember them not wanting me to go on semester at sea because people have died on semester at sea. Like, if you're not careful, like, you can, because semester at sea lets you go in country and do what you want. Like, you're an adult, you're over 18, you can make these choices, and some people died. You know, it's not common, but it has happened, and it freaked my parents out and almost didn't let me go. And then when I went on semester at sea, I found out that pretty much almost all the people that have died on semester at sea, it's extremely unfortunate, but you know, they drank like they drank a lot. They were in a risky situation, maybe with a third-party organization, and they were drinking in a foreign country. They may have slipped somewhere. In Myanmar, they're known to have like these golden temples, and there have been multiple people that have fallen off these temples because they were drunk, or they have died. They have really injured themselves. Someone on my voyage fell off one and he got seriously hurt. A horrible situation. Semester at sea said if one of the people in his group weren't like CPR trained or paramedics, something like that, he could have died. And it was really scary. I mean, I wasn't there, but just hearing about it on semester at sea, once we got back on the ship, it's scary. So just be careful, and I'm glad that I was careful. I'm not much of a drinker at all. I pretty much don't drink. It's just a personal choice of mine. And so that wasn't an issue for me. I wasn't tempted. No one's tempting me there. But that's something glad that I did, and I really recommend. It kind of frustrates me when I see people that have such an incredible opportunity, semester at sea or not, traveling to these amazing places and just getting drunk. And just to party, just to drink. They don't remember anything. That's it. That's their goal. They don't take in the culture as much, or they're not sober to see things, and it just makes me upset. So really recommend to not do that on or off the ship. Another thing that I've thought of that I recommend is with semester at sea, I wanted to, because I was nervous to do it, I wanted to pre-plan everything. But it's good to have a balance of planning and not planning, so leaving some room for spontaneity, but also having an idea of what you're doing, which I think I overall did a good job on. I pre-planned some trips of semester at sea. I had my Great Wall of China trip pre-booked. I had my India trip pre-booked. I have a safari in South Africa pre-booked. But I left other places like Ghana, Japan, other parts of China outside of Great Wall, because I didn't take up the entire time we were in China. I had that open to see what people that I had met later down the line wanted to do, what I learned in the time between leaving for semester C up until that when I was in that country, to see what I wanted to do. So I enjoyed kind of the balance that I gave myself. And with that, I was debating whether I wanted to book a flight home, because we started in California and we went through to Hawaii, and then we went through Asia and down and around Africa, and we went up and we ended in England. And that was spring semester, so basically I started off my summer in England. And so I thought I could travel myself, I could just go home right away because maybe I'd be homesick or something. But I decided to just not book a flight, not book anything, and just hope that I'd meet people who wanted to travel Europe in the summer, because Europe is a lot simpler to travel independently than sub-Saharan Africa or something like that. And that's what I did. I found people that, you know, I traveled with, and it was a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that I didn't pre-book anything. So don't be too worried about that, and remember, you have months on semester at sea before your end date, and you can always book a flight home. Maybe if you're super paranoid, if you could somehow book a flight that has a pretty flexible return or exchange kind of policy, I don't know. But honestly, I don't really recommend it, because unless you have to be back for some certain reason, maybe, you know, semester at sea, if you go in the fall, it might end right before Christmas and you want to be home before Christmas. That makes sense. But in my case, and if it's the same for you, if you don't have anything right afterwards, if it's the summer, you might as well just see what happens, and you'll probably meet people that want to travel. Not many people on my voyage went straight home after they got off. A lot of people traveled around Europe in the summer, because it's, you know, it's kind of what I feel like a lot of people in their early 20s do, is just do backpacking trips around Europe. It's kind of a classic, so why not make the most of it when you're already there? So that's kind of what I did on semester at sea that I'm happy I did, and that I'm glad I did, and thought I should let you all know in case you're thinking about going on semester at sea sometime soon. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.